Oh, yay. There is a legal battle happening in Europe right now over the classification of loot boxes in video games, with obviously Electronic Arts being at the center of this, thanks to, well, really its most popular game in Europe, and that is FIFA. And the Ultimate Team and opening up packs to get players and yada, yada, yada. We know this as well in Madden here over in the U.S. I guess they have Madden over there as well. It's just not as popular. But loot box mechanics are rampant all over the AAA video game industry, and even in, obviously, mobile phone games and stuff of that nature. And there isn't a lot of legal precedent for loot boxes. There's a reason that these lawsuits, or at least reviews by government agencies, are even happening. And in a current case that's going on in Europe, could actually set legal precedent for all of Europe, and could be a use case precedent that is brought up in North American, or in my particular case, United States related rulings, because there are certain senators and agencies that do think that loot boxes need to be better regulated, maybe need to be banned or outlawed from video games altogether, should be classified as gambling, and ergo maybe not banned, but restricted to being over the age of 18, which would make every single game loot boxes are in automatically rated in the video game industry as adult only, which could really hurt sales, as parents tend to be a lot more restrictive of anything that says adult only, or X-rated, rated R, NC-17, all that kind of stuff seems to make parents actually pay a bit more attention to what they are buying their kids. Otherwise, you buy a game like FIFA or Madden and you don't think anything of it. Oh, I'm just buying my kid a soccer game or a FIFA game, or you're buying your kid a game that's intended for adults. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So, what's coming up in this case is EA is doing what they're supposed to do. Now, I don't think what EA is saying is surprising. I want to make that very clear, despite me vehemently disagreeing with them. But they're obviously not trying to have loot boxes associated with gambling mechanics. They're going to try to make loot boxes sound like they are just like buying baseball card packs, right? Or just like buying Hatchimals. Or, if you go to GameStop or some local game store in your area and you buy some of those little figurine packet things, and it could be one of 6 characters or whatever in each one, and you don't know what you're going to get. Heck, you could argue it's like getting a Happy Meal toy at McDonald's, where, hey, look, right now I think they're Toy Story 4 ones, but you don't know which one you're going to get. It's kind of a crapshoot, right? To them, that is probably what they are going to try to frame this out to be. And I'm not surprised, because, of course, there is an argument to be made that that is the case. But I'm going to kind of dive into why this doesn't line up, why that argument falls apart. And this is something that I think will come up in the proceedings eventually today, or actually yesterday, I should say at this point. It was all questions from the officials to the representatives from EA, trying to get a base understanding of their side of things, and then you'll hear the counter arguments and all that at a later date, and they'll eventually come to their own conclusions and figure it out. Now, there are individual countries like Belgium in Europe that have already determined, hey, we don't really care, we're just banning it, we think it should be banned, and that's that. But as you can see in this title here on Kotaku, written by Nathan Grayson, it says, EA, our loot boxes are actually surprise mechanics that are quite ethical. So you can already tell that EA is making that equation that I stated earlier. So when you scroll down in here, you get a little bit of information about the case. We're not going to go through everything. If you want the full article, I'll link it down in the description. It says, No says it's VP Legal of Government Affairs. They merely have surprise mechanics, and they're quite ethical. EA's Kerry Hopkins made those comments as part of an oral evidence session. So again, this is where they're kind of making their case for what loot boxes are and why they should not be classified as loot boxes at all. They should be called surprise mechanics, and why surprise mechanics shouldn't be tampered with by the government, basically. And they go, Scottish National Party MP Brendan O'Hara said that evidence suggests a close link between loot boxes and gambling, especially among adolescents. He then asked Hopkins, as well as representatives of Epic Games, who was also in attendance to talk about Fortnite, if they considered loot boxes to be an ethical feature. And then, we don't call them loot boxes, Hopkins began her response, adding that EA instead refers to them as surprise mechanics. She then elaborated on what they mean by so-called surprise mechanics. And they're just like blind packed toys. Here we go. Remember, I mentioned that they were going to bring this up. If you go to, I don't know what's your version of Target is, a store that sells lots of toys, and you do search for surprise toys, what you'll find is that this is something people enjoy. They enjoy surprises. And so it's something that's been part of toys for years, whether it's Kinder Eggs or Hatchimals or LOL Surprise. We do think that the way we have implemented these kinds of features in FIFA, which of course is our big one with FIFA Ultimate Team and our packs, is actually quite ethical and quite fun, enjoyable to people. She also said that using extra loot boxes, surprise mechanics to be gambling, and we disagree that there's evidence that shows it leads to gambling. However, obviously Belgium and the Netherlands have obviously banned these things. And I like bringing this up as a conversation point because, one, we do still have FIFA on Switch. We do have a version of Ultimate Team that doesn't have all the features, and yet they still charge you for the packs, and it's just kind of crazy in my opinion. I don't know why anyone would I guess I can understand why you might buy FIFA for Switch just because you want a really nice portable version, and despite not being up to par with current generations of FIFA games, FIFA on Switch is the best portable version of FIFA there is, especially if you've tried it on your phone. I've tried FIFA on my phone. It's garbage. So, yeah. It's a nice portable version. I would never participate in Ultimate Team, especially on a phone when you're missing so many features. I don't think I'd participate in Ultimate Team regardless, especially involves spending money. But honestly, here is my issue with this argument, and I guarantee this will come up. And if it doesn't come up in this proceeding, I would be shocked. So you can't compare something that you digitally license to something that you physically have possession of. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. We don't own any of the games we buy, right? So when you buy, say, whatever, FIFA in this case, in the terms of service, it outlines that you are buying a license, okay? And that license can be revoked by any under a number of circumstances, right? Breaking copyright, breaking the rules, whatever, cheating, etc. Like there's a whole bunch of like underlying things where if you break the terms of service, they can revoke your license. What that means is you're purchasing a license to something, right? So that, just like a driver's license and anything else, it can be taken away. It doesn't really hold any intrinsic value on its own. It's just a license. It's a license you don't really even have the ability to resell if you buy digitally. You do physically, of course. You can resell that license back to a GameStop or whatever, or whatever store or whatever person online, whatever. You can resell that physical copy of the game, but technically it's the license that matters. And that license implies, that you have the right to play something. All right, so when you are opening up within a game that you don't own, but you just own a right to play, and you open up packs, right? In this case, FIFA Ultimate Team packs. You don't own those players. You don't. There's no resale value. Like, you can at least try to argue, well, I could resell FIFA, but you can't resell your Ultimate Team. There is no value gained from spending your money on loot boxes in any sort of way that matters from a monetary perspective. When you buy a card pack, right, a Pokemon card pack, and you open it up, there is value in those cards. Sometimes the value is only pennies, right? You get an energy, what is that worth? Like, 2 cents to the dollar or something. But, say you end up getting a nice something in there, that could be resold for money. There is an intrinsic value in purchasing a physical item, okay? That is the difference between buying, whatever, surprise mechanic toys versus surprise mechanic digital items. There is value in the surprise toys. Okay, they are something physical that can be resold. So, that being the case, you also own that physical item. When you purchase it, you have right to ownership over that item. You don't have that in a digital video game. So, you can have the best Ultimate Team ever. It's got a value of $0.00. Despite spending a bunch of money on it. Now you might be like, well, isn't that, like gambling? You gamble. If you win, you actually win money. If you lose, you actually lose money. Sure. There is obviously in like casino situations, you're playing slot machines. I've been to casinos. They can be a good fun if you do it responsibly. Or if you're like playing poker or whatever you're playing, blackjack, whatever your game happens to be, if you're someone that partakes in such events. Again, I am almost 33-year-old adult. I obviously do not promote children who, especially if you've just turned like 18 or just turned 21, if that's the age where you're supposed to go. Like, don't just like instantly go to a casino, right? Learn about it, learn to be responsible, understand that casinos exist to make money, not lose money. That's a big thing that a lot of people who get addicted to casinos don't really understand. The casino always wins, period. Even if you get beginner's luck, it always wins, period. As long as you understand that and do it responsibly, I have no issue if you want to be someone who partakes in such things. Just like I have no issue if you want to go have some drinks with some friends, as long as you're doing it responsibly and not, getting drunk and driving and all that stuff. Not getting so drunk you're blacking out, that kind of stuff. Like, there's obviously limits to all of this. And as long as you're doing it responsibly, be my guest. And I think that's the same thing with these loot boxes. If you are an adult and it is your money and you're being responsible with that money and you choose to spend your gaming budget on loot boxes, be my guest. I don't want loot boxes to go away. I don't think the argument against loot boxes is about fun, right? So they mention, in this article, that they think things could be quite fun, right? That they think it's fun and it's enjoyable for people. Well, of course it is. People would not buy these things if they weren't having a good time. The same thing's true at a casino. I wouldn't go to a casino and play slot machines. I would not play, blackjack or poker or roulette or whatever if it wasn't fun. Knowing that I am more likely than not, like 95% chance of or whatever it is, depending on what I'm playing, that I'm going to lose my money. I would not be doing that if I wasn't enjoying myself, right? The same thing's true in these Ultimate Team packs when you buy them in FIFA. Obviously, the people that buy them enjoy buying them. They enjoy it. They wouldn't keep buying them if they didn't. Now, you could argue there's addictive, nature to this stuff, which of course there is. There's an addictive nature to collecting anything, right? When you're collecting Pokemon cards, it can be addicting to buy those packs and get that high off opening a pack and, finding out that you got a rare card. I get it. It's exciting. But at least there's an intrinsic value there, right? You could sell those cards and get money back. You can't do that with these digital loot boxes. They're almost worse than actual gambling, because in actual gambling, there is a realistic chance you are going to get something of value in return. There's a realistic chance you're going to hit on the bonus games. You're going to hit on the jackpot. There is a realistic chance that you could walk out of that casino with more money than you walked in with. That doesn't exist in this kind of mechanic. This exists technically in the toy industry. This is why those are almost closer to gambling than this is. And the thing is, those toy companies have odds. They have publicly availably posted odds. So if there's 6 toys, it'll say on the box you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting a specific toy that you're looking for, right? There are odds for these things, odds for which Hatchimal you're going to get. There are odds, publicly, legally enforced odds. However, loot boxes never disclose, I shouldn't say never, but very rarely disclose what the odds are that you're going to get anything. It's a crapshoot. People find out what the odds are either by literally hacking the game, which then you just don't have your license anymore, so congratulations, or by actually buying enough of these packs to kind of figure out what the odds are, or around about. Again, it's still probably not 100% accurate because you basically need to break the program down and get into the algorithm to figure out what exactly the odds of getting certain players really are, certain types of players, certain tiers of players. And again, these companies like EA do not give you this information. So you are left just wondering and guessing at what the value of what you're buying really is in terms of just the fun you're going to have, and then you don't get anything of value in return in terms of a monetary gain. So you end up with something that is basically gambling, where you're throwing money in to try to get something back. You don't know what that thing is going to be. It's completely randomized, and even if you get it, there's no intrinsic value held in that thing you get. There's no resale value. You get a really cool Hatchimal. You could go sell that Hatchimal. You get something back in return. You can't sell these FIFA players. So you are left stuck in this sort of place where you have nowhere to go. You are in a place, EA, where the argument you're trying to make, what you're trying to compare it to, is actually more comparable to gambling in some ways, but deal with physical items versus digital that hold no value. This is where you are left with the only argument you really have, EA, is that the mechanics are fun. And yeah, you're going to get hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of people defending loot boxes and saying that they enjoy them. I know there are people, matter of fact, I know people, I've met them, that enjoy the loot boxes that are in Tap Sports Baseball, the only game that I play that really has loot boxes in it. And it's built around loot boxes, and it's annoying, and I have not spent one penny on the game this year. I'm not going to say I've never spent money, but I've never felt good about spending money when I have, right? I didn't enjoy spending money. So my whole prospect on this is that your argument is that it's fun, but that's not the argument. The argument that EA needs to get across and needs to win in the court system here in Europe and then eventually here in the United States is they need to win the argument that loot boxes, or whatever they want to call them, surprise mechanics, are something that, one, isn't addictive, which good luck at proving it's not addictive. Oh my gosh, it's extremely addictive. Just like, guess what? The thing you're comparing it to, like Hatchimals and cards, they're addictive. So, like, it is addictive. And you need to prove that it's got a value to it, right? And there isn't. It is a money sink. Nothing but a money sink. At least casinos pay out once in a while. This is nothing but a money sink. It just takes and takes and takes and takes and takes and never gives you equal value back ever in any regards. Even when you get the players you want, you might, oh yeah, it was worth spending the money to get this one player and blah, 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 blah. For what purpose? In a year from now, is that player worth anything? No, he's not even worth anything when you get him. It's just that was fun, that was neat. At least when you get like a first edition Charizard from like the first generation of the Wizards of the Coast version of the Pokemon cards and packs that have never been opened, you buy one of those unopened boxes for thousands of dollars off eBay, and then you get one of those first, that card is worth a significant amount of money. You have a value. You might not sell it, you might hold on to it, but there's value in that card. You know it. There's no value held in the player other than I get to use them. Guess what? You could use that first edition Charizard to play the Pokemon card game too. But that's not where the value of that card comes from. The value comes from its worth on the marketplace, what people are willing to pay you to take that card off your hands. No one can pay you to take these players off your hands. That's worse than gambling because you don't get real monetary value in return for anything. You get nothing. You get some digital code added to your game that turns into a player that you don't really even own. That's the problem. There's no ownership. There's no resale value. There's nothing. You get a pile of nothing. You are giving money for nothing. But it's fun because it's addictive. And it's addictive because it's fun to not know what you're going to get. Even though in the back of your mind, all of us know you're getting a pile of crap. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think about this down in the console below. Do you take EA's side? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? These are obviously just my opinions and my thoughts on this entire situation. I know EA is a fun company to crap on, and I hate to pile on more, but I mean, this is just something that is going to be playing out. I do not blame EA for the stances they are taking, for the way they're arguing this in court. This is what they have to do. They don't want any changes coming to loot boxes. They want zero regulations. They want it to be left just like all of the other things out there. The problem is, too, as well, card companies and all these companies do have regulations. That's why we know the odds. Gambling has regulations. That's why we know the odds when you gamble, right? We know the odds. We don't know the odds for this stuff, so I don't know. As I said, I don't think loot boxes need to go away on the whole, but they need to be regulated. They need to be held to adults only. Kids themselves, like they don't even. Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about it. if you're under the age of 15 in the United States, you don't have a job. You can't earn an income. Maybe you earn an allowance or something, but that's something you have set up with your parents. You legally cannot work. So, games should clearly be targeted at age groups that can't make an income, right? Right? We should target these paid-for mechanics to age groups that can't make. What benefit is that to them? Parents have to pay for it. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Obviously, I'm very strongly opinionated on this point, and I would love to hear some alternative arguments as well, and I'll try to keep myself as open-minded as I can, even if I disagree with you. I think we can find some common ground, and hey, look, it's okay if you think loot boxes are fine and not a big deal. You love the gacha mechanics and things like Fire Emblem Heroes or whatever. Fine, let's hear about it. Let's hear your arguments. It's all right. I just ask all of you guys, please don't run out and hate on people that have a different opinion than me, a different opinion than you. Heck, don't hate on me if I have a different opinion than you, right? Like, let's just have an actual conversation about this. Anyways, if you like this video, drop the like, subscribe for more content. Thank you for all the support we've been getting lately. Lots of new subscribers, lots of really kind-hearted comments out there. It's wonderful. It's awesome. My son's birthday party's tomorrow, and as I told you guys, he's getting a Nintendo Switch. He has no idea. I will be sure to get that on videotape for you guys, and if I feel it's appropriate, I'll put together a video to show you guys, what it's like as a gaming dad to, get his son. It's technically not his first system. His first system was a 2DS, but to get him like his first, full console kind of experience, it's going to be good memories for me, and hopefully a memory I can share with you guys, assuming again that everything's appropriate and how I film it and all that jazz. So. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a wonderful day on this Thursday in the month of June. And I'll catch you in the next one.